Hello, hello. Say hi as you come in. Let me know where you're from. If you haven't popped into my lives on Sunday night before, hi. I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And on Sunday nights, I explore a little bit of the inside. But you know what? It's a place to get together, have chit chat, support each other, help each other quite often. We have been to the rescue of each other quite a few times now. To let you guys know right off the hop as you pop in, if you could let me know if this air conditioner bothers you in any way. We're in the midst of a heat wave this week here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Hence, hence the light clothing today. The light clothing today, but and that's how it is sometimes. You know, you choose to live in the countries, provinces, states, right? That we do. And yeah, part of that package is the weather. Here in Manitoba, if you don't know me, I'm Cindy. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And yeah, it gets hot here in the summertime. It really does. And July is our hottest month of the year. And we quite often can reach the temperatures that we have reached this week. But this is a long span for us. This is a long span to stay in those high temperatures. Usually we get them for a day, two days maximum, but we've had them this really hot weather all week. And I know it's the norm for most of the country. I don't know how it is for everybody in the States. Let me know how the temperature is today in the states that you live in or the country that you live in. I would love to know what it's like for temperature here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I think it hit 40 today. How about some good news right off the hop? Oh, and Angry Birds is here. We missed you last week, Angry Birds. We missed you last week, but I caught the week before. I caught you saying that you might not make it to last week's live. So we were pretty informed that last week you wouldn't be popping in. I hope everything is going good for you guys. Today, I got my second vaccine shot, so now I'm fully vaccinated. I have to wait 2 weeks before I can get my card to prove that I was fully vaccinated. And at that point, I guess I can go over the border, go into the States if I want. Today, I was doing a little bit of planning. I'm taking a trip in September. I'm going up to the Thunder Bay, Ontario region. I'm going mining for amethyst, and it's going to be an exciting trip. My main cost will be renting a vehicle, but I'm really hoping that, some kind of great deal will come across my path, and I'm certain it will. I'm staying open to the idea, and I'm setting goals, right? Which is really, really important to do, to always be inspired and always be moving forward and always trying to bring new experiences and new adventures into our lives. And it's about time for me, right? It's about time for me. Lots of times we don't have control, right? Again, the weather or the circumstances or the places we live in, right? And the circumstances, 100%. And sometimes, right, this coronavirus has beat us down a little bit, hasn't it? This coronavirus has beat us down a little bit. And it's been a long process, right? Living this experience. It's traumatizing, I would think, for lots of people, and for lots of different reasons too. Lots of different reasons why people will be struggling. I heard that they were taking the bans off of the landlords for booting people out of their apartments and their homes. So I expect that we're going to see a little bit more homelessness coming on and more families struggling to get by. I'm really wishing everybody some well wishes, hoping that you get back on your feet really fast. I have been grateful that I've been able to keep a full-time job during the coronavirus. I work in a little thrift shop, but because it's a charity, we have been allowed to stay open, and it has been challenging for us too, staying open, because we weren't allowed a lot of customers in the store. It's a small shop. So, my boss was happy as long as she could make our wages, as long as we could make our wages, well, we could stay open, and we managed somehow. It was tough, but we managed somehow. And, and thank you to all the people out there that thought they would donate their home, like keeping busy during the coronavirus, stuck at home. There were a lot of home projects going on, and we were gratefully the recipients of lots of donations that came in, and it kept a lot of people going, not just me keeping a roof over my head, but there we have lots of resellers that come into the store that depended on making an income, a full-time income, and making those incomes off of purchases that they're making off of us. So we weren't just supporting the few jobs that we were creating with the donations, but we were creating outside of that too, and helping other people to make an income. And it seemed everybody managed okay, right? Everybody seemed to manage okay. And I had something to ground in, right? I was going a little spinny there for a while. And that's the content that you take in when you overload and you're trying to stay busy for the fact of staying busy. And when I didn't have a job to ground myself in, it's like grasping at strings and stuff hanging from the ceiling. A bad analogy, especially for somebody who doesn't like swinging heights, because I don't like swinging heights, trapeze style, right? But yeah, let's take a look at some comments. Let's see who's in here. I saw Angry Birds was in here. Owen's in here. Andrew's in here. Hi guys. I hope your week is going good, Angry Birds. I'm happy to see you in here. Oh, I see. Well, I hope you're out there and you're enjoying your life anyway, and you're spending time with Mother Nature. I think it's important that everybody spends some time with Mother Nature. And again, you guys, as you come in, if you can let me know if my air conditioning is bothering you, let me know. I will turn it off and open up the window. There isn't a much breeze yet. The sun is just starting to fall a little bit, but it will fall directly into my window because I don't keep window coverings over my windows at all. I like to see the view of the city, and I have a beautiful view of the city, so I like to keep it that way, right? So it will get really warm. But if it does bother you guys, just let me know. And 100%, I am happy to turn that air conditioning off. Awesome. So what are you going to talk about tonight there, Angry Birds? Now I'm interested to know. And thanks, Andrew, the way you pull everybody into the conversations and everything. I really, really, really appreciate how you and Owen team up, right? Oh, Nancy's here too. Hi, Nancy. I will. Thanks for popping in, Nancy. I really appreciate it. Statues. You know what? We had one overturned here, I think in Winnipeg. We had a statue that was kind of defaced with a lot of paint, and it was a statue of Queen Victoria. And I don't know how this all relates now. I'm not quite sure because I don't follow the news, Melvin. But I'm assuming that this statue that was pushed over here in Winnipeg has to do with something that you're talking about. If you can kind of fill me in on that, I would appreciate that because I'd like to be filled in. I purposely don't watch the news. I don't have a TV, number one. I threw my TV out like years ago. I know how media, how they all compete each other for readings and stuff like this. So I kind of find it defeating to watch the news, to watch TV, because it's all about grabbing your attention, right? And if I want to have my attention grabbed, I'm going to have it grabbed by something insightful, something that's going to move me forward, right? Something that's going to enlighten my brain or help somebody else out. But yeah, Melvin, if you could quickly fill us in on that one, that would be greatly appreciated. Um, for my assumption as to what's going on, no, it's the craziest things. This is artwork. These carvings and stone sculptures, these statues, have been made by great artists out there, great sculptures out there. Their artwork, right? And their artwork set out in public places for everybody to enjoy, right? Now, I don't know what kind of statement anybody's trying to make by destroying something, because I know that statue must have been 100 years old, right? It must have been 100 years old. And I think actually it was a bronze statue on a cement base, if I'm thinking correctly. I didn't stick too long in the post, but I do remember something coming across my feed about a statue of Queen Victoria. And actually, my one of my relatives was actually a lady in waiting to Queen Victoria. This is hearsay going down in histories, but we do have our family tree and everything, and it's something that the family kind of boasts about, like, constantly in the past, in my lifetime. So it's something, that's meant to stick around. And I guess this is kind of, how the indigenous do their storytelling and talk about their ancestors and stuff, but talk about it through stories and passing it on from one generation to another generations. A lot of our history, especially in my family, has been put away across that way, and it's hard for us to stick to the truth. And so it kind of makes you wonder, how we beat ourselves up when we try to go back 50,000 years or 150,000 years, and we try to put evolution together, put history together that way. That it's a miracle that we're actually able to do it, and that's because of science. Number one, but philosophy has a say in it. But documentation and history, and well, like I was saying, the indigenous, they didn't write anything down, and they had access to great materials that would have made great papers. Like the birch bark tree makes great writing paper, right? Makes great writing paper. And actually they made their fabrics and their linens and stuff, their clothing, with birch bark. That you could actually make a syrup, like maple syrup, out of the birch tree too. Came into so many different uses. And also the white sap that comes off on the trees is very easy to spot. If you can scrape that off and mix it with, like, cotton balls or pieces of other material and mix it together, it makes great fire starter. So you just keep it in a sandwich bag or a little container for when you go camping or something, and it makes great fire starter. You can add it to your safety and emergency kit. I have a safety emergency kit that I put together again, and it's all done in freezer bags and everything. But again, I haven't been on the road in 2 years. I got shut down just like everybody else. And, I'm hoping there's an opportunity to kind of give my YouTube channel a shot at some explore videos this year. We're starting with my trip to Thunder Bay in September. And again, I was in my website, and I was on Google Maps, or not on my website. I was in the websites today. I was on Google Maps. I'm trying to figure out the distance. It's going to take me it's going to take me all day to drive there, because, I'll be stopping and I'll be doing some exploring, and I'm going to find some beautiful backscapes. So, of course, I'm going to want to stop and make some proper contents and put some posts away, for when I come home and stuff, right? Keep that adventure going, keep those adventures fresh in my mind. And I expect there's going to be lots of revelations and lots of, it's going to be beautiful. I know it's going to be beautiful. I've done that highway once before, And it was probably one of the most magnificent trips I ever had. But for whatever reason, my brain said, Cindy, you're going mining for amethyst in September, right? Because I was going to take a trip to the Middle East, right? I was going to try and get some special permissions attached to my passport, and I was going to take off to Iran and Turkey, and I was hoping maybe Egypt and right, maybe Iraq. But I can't go to those places if things are up in arms, right? If there are being difficulties and stuff, and I wouldn't want anybody to think me one culture when I'm a different culture altogether, right? But it's not as I don't think it's a good time for me to go there, but I do need a holiday. I do want to make some content. I really want to give my YouTube a shot, and as things are opening up, it's a great opportunity, and it's great for me to set goals, right? If I'm hanging with the entrepreneurs, a big part of hanging with the entrepreneurs is setting goals and working towards them, and that's kind of the idea for me, to set a goal, work towards it. Remember when I went to Minneapolis, right? That was a crazy adventure. I had no idea how it was going to work. Remember when I was going to go to Toronto? I had no idea. And that was a huge, huge, huge one for me. And I had a lot of money invested in that one, right? I had my credit card taken away from me because we went right into the coronavirus, and I didn't have an opportunity to recoup some money to help start paying that credit card down. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to, but I'm in the same boat as everybody else, and priorities first, right? And Cindy says, well, isn't priorities paying your bills off first before taking a vacation? Isn't that a little bit more important? Won't that do more for my self-esteem? Probably would, but I wouldn't recognize the achievement. Even going back the past few months, right? I look back and I says, I haven't made any movement. Yes, I kept a job during the coronavirus. I kept a full-time job. I'm proud of myself for being able to do that, especially when I could have been making more money on the CERB payments or on unemployment. But I was being responsible. I needed to ground in something, right? I needed to be able to work towards, well, not towards, work towards a better life for myself. In order to do that, I had to fill up those gaps with actual goals, actual responsibility, actual accountability. And my job was all of that for me, right? So I'm very grateful for my full-time job that I've had, right? But at the same time, it didn't leave me a lot of room to work on my brand, right? Yes, I kept my lives going, right? I kept my lives going every Sunday. And yes, my Instagram, I did lives every day. And when we were shut down, when we were truly shut down, I pumped that to 2 posts every day. One of them was a written post. Oh my goodness, it was so hard. Sometimes it'd be up to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get the next day's post ready. And I used to go deep into thought, and I wouldn't give up. And oh my goodness, it had to be perfect. Really, when I look back on those posts, right, I was so exhausted. There were so many mistakes, and I wasn't giving in to the moments. I just kept going, and I'm proud of my efforts in those. And some of those posts were really good. Some of those posts were really insightful. But more importantly, those were my lessons. That was my training ground, right? That's where I trained. That's where I kind of, right? Because not only did I ground myself at my work, I ground myself in my lessons too, because I knew how important it was. I always knew how important it was to share that journey, right? I didn't always know, because it took me a year to go in front of the camera. Remember, over a year when I was doing my explore videos, and on the back road and everything. And, it was really hard for me. But at the same time, I was very proud of myself that I kept going, that I kept adapting the content. And my content looks totally different now than what it was. But I'm thinking, Right? What a great way. If I could get back onto the road, if I can set some goals and show other people that if you can set some goals, even if they are for myself, because I'm the main purpose is to go out there and calm my system down, right? Because I worked hard. I'm ready for a rest. I've learned it's graduation time for me. It's time to relax and enjoy myself and reward myself. And this is how I'm thinking, and this is how I'm going to continue thinking about this trip, right? But on top of that, it's a great opportunity for me to actually give my YouTube channel a shot. Do I want to be there, right? Do I want to be there? Do I want to move on to big things? Do I want to do my TEDx talks? Do I want to do my bushcraft videos? Do I want to share my back road explores? Do I want to share the experiences of my connection to Mother Nature, right? Or do I want to carry on in my studies of mindset? I mean, either way, mindset is going to be a big part of my brand going forward, right? Going forward, we're moving into a new day and age, and we learned a lot in these past couple of years, and most of it was about our emotions, about how our past affects our present and affects our future, right? How we have to overcome a lot of our limiting beliefs that hold us back. And that a lot of those dreams that we set out to achieve or hoped we achieved during the course of our life, and for whatever reason they didn't work out or pan out, and we beat ourselves up over those things, right? And we look back on them as failures and stuff, when in actuality, just trying and having a new experience. How brave is that? How courageous is that? And right, like I always say, sometimes in our failures, we have our greatest successes, right? We have our greatest successes. Let me come into the comments again and see where everything is going. Abolitionists. Oh, wow. That's beautiful, right? Because the abolitionists, were they not the ones? Now, I could be getting this wrong, Andrew, but correct me. The abolitionists, were they the ones that helped with the Underground Railroad and stuff? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. And tell us a little bit. I would love to know a little bit more about that. Yeah, my ancestors were actually they were titled, I think. Lots of them were bishops and religious people, nuns, archbishops, right? Because we have a written family tree too, and you can see the reverend and pastor. You can see these titles, archbishop and bishop, in front of their names, right? So I know there were a lot of religious people, and I thought that would be the direction that I would become a Christian. I thought for sure that I would wake up and those past, because I'm a believer in epigenetics, right? That it's imprinted in our DNA, and over time and over decades and over lifetimes, even that these Christian faiths were attached to our bloodline. That I thought for sure I'd wake up and I would be a Christian or something. But no, I went a different route. I went more into the spirituality part of it, but at the same time, left myself non-denominational, left myself non-denominational, and I have decided to even though kindness isn't my one word anymore, that kindness is actually now something of value, right? That's very, very important for me, and that I look for in aspects of my life, and that I try to put out there now for other people, right? That's how I'm going to move forward, is in the kindness. But at the same time, I'm moving forward through the choices I make, right? And this trip that I'm making in September, well, those are one of the choices I've made, right? Those goals that I set forward for myself and work towards, right? and then hopefully inspire other people to maybe set some goals for themselves, knowing that they could better their lives a little bit, that they could trust that everything's going to be okay if at the very least they invest in themselves, if they put a little bit of faith in themselves, right? Am I asking you to believe? Maybe a little bit, right? Because we have to believe in something in order to move ourselves forward. I truly believe that. I truly believe in that. And it doesn't matter because being again non-denominational, leaving myself non-denominational, and I'm going to rely on how people treat me, right? Not so much how they treat other people, because we all have people that our souls don't rub up against very well, right? That they're for people that for no reason at all, they don't even have to do anything to us, but that we know that we're just not going to see things eye to eye, and that having them in our lives or being in their lives is going to be difficult for both of us, right? Not just me, but for you too, right? For whatever reason, we just don't get along well. A little sip of my coffee, and I got a soft drink here too, just because it's just so hot, just so hot. I just interested in the conversation. Just you guys, if you're not interested in the conversation that goes on in the comments at any time, right? If you lose track of conversations, you can highlight people's comments that you do want to come forth in your feed, right? In chatters, and in conversations that you don't want to be a part of, you just and see those three dots besides those comments, just hit those, and you can actually have commands there where you can actually hide comments from other people, or even hide, right? Because sometimes, some people use potty words. Some people have conversations that you don't appreciate. Some people have conversations you just don't understand. And you're welcome to do that, right? But at the same time, in saying that, I want everybody to feel welcome, to be able to come in and have conversations that they want. And as you can see, Andrew, my guy, Owen, right? Everybody comes in here and pops into the comments, right? How kind they are, how they take an interest in everybody, how they support everybody in the conversation. So if you would just love to come in and say hi, just come in and say hi to us. We appreciate that. But at the same time, if you don't want to, I perfectly understand. I go live on Instagram every single day, and not everybody wants to come live with me, right? We have that option where we can both go live and see each other. But quite often, people, even though they're not brave enough to show their own faces going live, what they'll do quite often is they'll turn the camera on once they hit accept to go live. They'll turn the camera around and they'll just talk to me while they're showing me some pretty scene, whether it's their backyard, or if it's the mountains or the city or a piece of art or something, right? Show me something interesting, but at the same time, carry on a conversation. And it works out really, really well for us. Now, that option isn't here on YouTube at all, but I have great moderators who take an interest in everything. And I'm a true believer. It takes all kinds to make the world, and every single person that pops into my live, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel welcomed. And even though you're not ready right now to pop into the conversation or into the chatter, maybe at some point you will be, right? And once we pick you up, oh my goodness, right? Once I recognize you, right? Even if you just come in and give me the thumbs up, because the next time we come in live, Owen will recognize you. I'll recognize you, right? Andrew will recognize you. Melvin, Angry Birds is here now too, right? And like I said, you have a lot of those three dots right beside at the end of each after each comment anybody makes, it gives you options, you guys. So you're welcome to hit those options for yourself to make this the most pleasant experience for yourself as you can. But keep in mind, right, you want to jump in. You actually want to see, right, that all kinds, it takes all kinds to make the world, and everybody has the right to contribute to the conversation. And everybody communicates different. Look at me. Look at the things that I talk about, right? You know, I go into topics and sometimes I just get totally lost and I forget even what's going on in the comments. And thank goodness and thank you again, guys and ladies, right? That you guys take care of people that are actually popping into the comments and making everybody feel comfortable. And, you know, I hope you guys know how much I love you guys and how this Chatters Live is a big part of you guys too. What I do here coming live, it wouldn't be the same. And there's no obligation to you guys, right? I know you guys are consistently here every single week, but at the same time, I understand that life gets a hold of us, change gets a hold of us, and there may come a point where you may or may not be here anymore, right? And we just have to learn and we adapt, we conquer, we carry on no matter what. We carry on, and yes, it'll be sad and might even be difficult, and we might miss you guys and stuff, but at the same time, we understand again, right, that we have to move on, that change is inevitable in our lives. And if change isn't going on, then we're stagnating, right? And that's what happens lots of times when we give our lives to other people. Like again, in if you have never hung out with us before, a lot of people who hang out on my channel are caregivers, right? Or people who watch out for other people, whether it's their spouses or their parents or their siblings, right? Or just caregivers. Maybe they work in hospitals, right? Because we do have some beautiful nurses who work in emergency rooms, and they come in and they kind of veg out with us and everything on Sunday nights. And it's very, very kind that you guys actually make everybody feel comfortable, because we can hang out in the comments and we can show our best selves, but we don't always show our true selves, right? And that takes time. That takes time. And I'm grateful again that I've had the opportunity to build these relationships with my moderators, right? So again, I was just yapping away, Andrew. What a great way for you to say that. A collective stream of consciousness, free association going on here. I love that. It's beautiful. I love that. Oh my goodness, Andrew. I hope you're including yourself in that. I hope you're going to involve. I know you're a busy guy, and I know you put yourself out there, and the caregiving takes a lot of time and everything. But this is your brother, right? And on top of that, you know, what you do is so important. It's so important. Like, you got to think, where would your brother be right now if he didn't have you caregiving, if he didn't have you kind of supervising and helping out with his life a little bit, right? He's your brother, right? And lots of times we take those responsibilities on our life, but at the same time, these responsibilities, right, they make it, it's difficult, right? Because you can't go out there and have those joys in your life, right? Lots of times we sacrifice the opportunities to get married and have babies and nurture friendships, right? Lots of times, but at the same time, just think, how you can actually, how your communication skills have improved, Andrew, right? And also what you do with your free time, because caregiving takes up so much time. it sucks a lot of energy out of you, right? It takes a lot of energy, and you're devoting your life to others. So that little bit of time that you do have for yourself, it's for yourself, right? You don't want to spread it with more people. And again, I'm very grateful that you give your Sunday nights to me, right? I'm very grateful that you give your Sunday nights to me. But I'm thinking, right, the sacrifices that you make for your life, and I really hope that you go into that study, give it some serious thought, Andrew. Oh, conflict of interest. Yeah, being a part of that study. But it doesn't hurt to let your colleagues know or your supervisor know, right? And again, also, this is your personal life. You're mixing your personal life and your work life together at this time. But I bet you they would, again, talking about consciousness, right, Andrew? How much they would benefit from your insight, and especially with your photographic memory and these special talents and gifts that you have and insights, and how you can actually, how your brain is actual like a filing system, that you're able to store such great information and actually be able to pull it up on an ask or a thought. I mean, it's an amazing gift, and I think that yeah, they this study would be very, very should be grateful to actually have your insight added into it. But I can also understand the conflict of interest there, Andrew. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's important. And I think you, at very least, being an interviewer in this study, you'll have great insights when you do the questions and get the insight from the people that you're interviewing. Yeah, I can understand that. Oh, I didn't know. I only thought it was the one brother that you were caring for, Andrew. I didn't know you were caring for two brothers. I didn't know that. I thought you only actually even had just the one brother. So you've always been a caregiver all the way around. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're right. Bridge of Sighs. You're 100% right. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Everybody, happy 4th of July. Does anybody want to say anything? I'm not saying like give a prayer or a thanks or anything, but lots of people who come into these lives, especially after they've been live, lots of people come in afterwards, and they come in and they join. Well, they can't join in the conversation, but they actually leave comments down below to let me know that they actually made it to the lives and joined in, even though they miss your interactions, right? But from other countries and other states and well, states they would all know, but to understand what you're celebrating on the 4th of July. I know it's independence. I know it's independence being your own country. And it's the same thing like here in Canada. We celebrated our Independence Canada Day on July 1st, which is only a few days prior to the states celebrating their day, right, of being Americans. Now here in Canada, we celebrated with some fireworks. We don't go crazy with the fireworks like the Americans do. And there was a little bit of celebration this year. I spent it. Oh my goodness, you guys, I didn't even tell you guys. Hold on one second. I'm going to walk away from the camera. I wanted to show everybody what I found. Now, if I can get it down already, I got it up there. But I went bottle digging for Canada Day. I went bottle digging. And when I was bottle digging, I found the most incredible find. I've got it way up on this shelf. I don't want to break it. There we go. Whoa, I got it down. But when I was bottle digging, I got the most incredible find. Now it's only 120 years old, but Canada isn't as old as the States. Canada isn't as old as the States, right? Canada, especially Manitoba, when we were truly starting to get settled, it was in the 1890s when we started to invite the old countries and the pioneers to come out here, grab some land, try and make a go of it in farming and stuff. Lots of farms succeeded, lots of them didn't. But more importantly, the cultures survived. And that's incredible to think that how the cultures, so whether you were from the Ukraine or Russia, or you were Irish or English or right indigenous, right? And unfortunately, we did some pretty stinky stuff. You guys probably heard about the residential schools, right? And again, I talk about it here in Manitoba. We are a reconciliatory province. And I know sometimes sorry isn't enough. And I also know that, right, our parents and grandparents, they weren't as evolved as we are now. And we are not as evolved as our children will be. Now, can you imagine, right? Holding us responsible for what's been going on truly it needed to be voiced, it needed to be brought to the surface and actually worked out, right? In order for us to move forward, we have to look at the past hurts, right? There has to be some forgiveness. Number one, there has to be some forgiveness. But in order for us to move on, right, there has to be some talking about it. There has to be some acknowledgement. There has to be some changes. 100% there needs to be some changes because, yeah, we're going into some tough times and we'll be all treading and moving fast and things will look like everything's going well for the first little while, right? Because we're trying to make things go back to the normal, but we're going to see that machines are going to be taking over a lot of those jobs that people were doing. A lot of people are not going to be called back because companies are now going to be struggling trying to save themselves. Again, my sister's been working during this coronavirus also, and her company went under by 80%. But it's in an industry that will never come back because these big conglomerates, these big skyscraper businesses that occupy whole buildings where people are going to work every single day into these buildings will now be done at home, which is going to be kind of hard too, because now you're going to have people at home supervising themselves, parenting themselves, holding themselves accountable. And you know us, right? You give us an inch, we're going to take a foot. You give us a foot, we're going to take a yard. And if you give us a yard, we're going to take a mile. But going back to what I did on Canada Day. Canada Day, I went bottle digging, everybody. I went to my favorite bottle spot. I found a medicine bottle. I found I think it was an old beer bottle. It was very tiny. That amount of beer wouldn't have filled anybody out, but it was some kind of beverage. I think it was probably a little beer bottle or something. Found lots of porcelain doll parts, arms and legs, and I like to keep those. I found a little bronze piece. It was a stork. I think it was off of some kind of garden feature. But talk about garden features, you guys. You won't believe. I found this in my bottle dig. Look at that. It's an old garden pot, right? It's the French, well, here in Manitoba, the French took one side of the river and the English took the other side of the river, right? But this has been in the ground. This bottle dump that I'm digging is from 1870s to 1890s. And it's pretty bleached out. It might have been a terracotta color at one time, right? There is a little bit of darkness in it. But it is old. I bleached it. I scrubbed it clean. It is spotless. You can eat out of this. You can eat out of this thing. I really wanted to make it as nice as I could because I knew I was keeping it and putting it on my shelf. And somebody threw that away between 1870 and 1890. They threw it away. Not even a chip in it, people. There's not even a chip in this thing. and I pulled that out of the dirt. I'm just really proud of myself. It's one of my pieces. I absolutely love it. At some point, I'll be filling it up with my treasures that I found it. But it was pretty exciting. It was pretty exciting finding this. This is probably one of my favorite finds that I ever found in that dump. And that's what I did on Canada Day. I just wanted to show it. I know you might think this is silly, but this is the kind of stuff that I like, right? Again, Cindy loves history, right? And to think, even though that might have been in the dump 120 or 130 years, that was sitting in somebody's yard or somebody's porch for maybe another 40 or 50 years before they decided to throw it away. So there's some real history in that little garden pot. So I'm happy for it, I'm grateful for it, and I'm going to be keeping it, right? I don't have a lot of space in my house to be keeping things and stuff, but that's something I decided I'm going to drag that around with me for the rest of my life. Ah, Bridge, oh, Senator, nice of you to say. I didn't even brush my hair today. I was actually wearing a hat. I went down to get my second vaccination. That's very nice of you to say, Bridge size. That was very nice of you to say. I'm wearing this only because it's so hot. We're in the middle of a heat wave. It's in the 40s right now. I could probably tell you what the temperature is. 31, it's 31 Celsius. So it's starting to cool off a little bit now. It's 31 Celsius. So it's around 100 degrees outside, but it's also 8:15 at night here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So the temperatures are starting to go down. So the only reason I'm wearing this is because, but the earrings I love. Thank you for complimenting the earrings. I got these at work. They're little African artisan earrings. I really like the ones that the artist actually put together. And I just wanted to have a kind of a natural feel. I actually even had one of my straw hats. I was wearing one of my straw hats today. And I did walk downtown, or no, I didn't walk downtown for my appointment for my second shot, but I did walk home. I did walk home and spent some time just with myself, walking through the legislative grounds. It's very pretty. They keep the gardens going. They kept the grass going. And yeah, I'm very grateful. I hope the noise from my air conditioning is not too loud. I hope it's not too loud because it's really hot in here today. My hair's blowing all over the place. But thank you so much for saying that. I really do appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Owen. Thank you. Oh, right. 105 degrees in California. And that's got to be awful too because of the humidity. They're at the ocean, right? They're at the ocean. There is no water here. Well, we do have the Red River and the Assiniboine River crossing, but we don't have the humidity that California would be having at 105. So yeah, it's hot, and I'm very grateful to have people from all over the world. Oh, 72. Oh, that's a nice evening for you, Owen. 72. I would be very happy at 72. I haven't been sleeping great. I've actually been waking up quite early the past couple of days. I don't know why, because I have that air conditioner. I can turn it right around and it just blasts on me when I'm sleeping. Plus, I have a fan that blows right into my face. And I sleep good, but for whatever reason, I don't know if I just don't need as much sleep because when I wake up, I haven't been what do you call that, drowsy. I haven't been drowsy, but ready to go at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to start my day, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's not even 5 o'clock in the morning. What am I doing up, Cindy? And I try to go back to sleep, but once I'm awake, well, and it's quiet at that time of the evening. It's kind of quiet, isn't it? So I enjoy when I do have that little bit of time. And if I am awake, I just lay in bed and I reflect. And sometimes amazing thoughts come to my mind, and I stir them around. And right, 78 in Bloomington, Indiana. Wow. What do you mean? So how are the fires? I heard California had lots of fires going on. in California. And like I said, I don't follow the news, but in my feed every once in a while, something about the heat wave will come across in my feed to me, right? And they did say that there was some really bad fires going on in California. And in BC too, I heard that there was some really big fires going on in BC, out of control fires. I heard something like 72 fires just in one day started up in BC, that the weather has just been crazy. Oh, 106 people in the emergency room too. So I could imagine they're, yeah, I don't know how your nerves. And we were just talking about that, Bridges Size. We were just talking about caregivers, how they give so much of themselves that they totally exhaust themselves. And can you imagine how exhausted she was with 106 cases? Wow. Aw. Yes, 100%. Well, right. I'm sure that you understand that how important it is to get your rest. And I shouldn't be grumbling, right? That I wake up in the middle of the night feeling well rested, because I don't have that kind of stress. I'm not underneath that kind of stress, right? But yeah, we were talking a little bit. I don't know what a diaphones is. Oh. Yeah, no, 105, that's crazy heat, right? I could never live in a place like Dubai or something. Can you imagine living in a place with that kind of heat all the time? And I was actually talking a little bit about this, I think, on my Instagram live this morning. And I was talking to a really nice gentleman, Alberto from Mexico. He came into my live, and really smart man, too. He was a really, really smart young man, and we got to get used to that, because our kids are so smart. The young adults of this world are so brilliant that yeah, again, they're not letting us get by. They're catching absolutely everything, and they're holding us accountable for the mistakes that we made, right? But oh, such smart kids, such smart kids. I have no problems leaving the world in their hands, 100% too, right? Wow. But 72, that's a great temperature. I can't wait. They said a couple of more days here in Winnipeg, and the temperature will start leveling out a little bit, that maybe it'll get to its early or low 20s for the next few days. So that will be nice. But I'm not concerned, because for the most part I am buckling down. I may go for a few evening walks. I may go for a couple of bike rides. I might even go for a bike ride tonight and get out for a little bit of a bike ride tonight. I think I might. And staying active for a little bit, but at the same time doing things that don't cost money. I have not had a Tim Hortons coffee, you guys, in a week. I haven't had a Tim Hortons. I did have a coffee, but I didn't pay for it. I haven't. I'm going to say I haven't bought a Tim Hortons coffee in a week. I am saving money, right? That's $2.50 a day, right? Times seven. And some days I do them twice a day. And sometimes when I do a coffee, I haven't had lunch yet. And then I'll spend money on having lunch instead of waiting till I get home at night and having something for dinner instead. Right? So that costs money too. So I'm feeling pretty good. I haven't had it. I haven't bought any coffees at all. I from anywheres. I haven't bought any coffees. I do have a couple of McDonald's cards, that I can get a free coffee, because you collect the stickers, and once you fill the cards out, you get a free coffee, right? So I do have a few of those. So if I do want to go for a bike ride or want to go for a walk down to McDonald's and grab a cup of coffee, maybe walk to the graveyard. I like to walk there's a graveyard down by one of the McDonald's that I like to walk to, and there's a graveyard there. They keep it very pretty and stuff there. But basically, I like to go into the graveyard and I just kind of sort of talk to the graves and stuff. And, right? Because I heard somewhere along the line that some people, they stay with their bodies, that they don't move on to heaven, or they don't move on with their guardian angels or whoever comes to request them, like, in the content and in the feed that I study and stuff. So I kind of say, if anybody comes to say, hey, follow me, don't stick around with your body. So I just talk to myself a little bit, and I talk to the people that are buried there a little bit and comment on how long they've been in, because their gravestones will say how long they would have been there and everything. And I thought, oh, maybe one day I'll go up to my mother's cemetery. I've never been, well, the day of her funeral, I was there during the day of her funeral, but I haven't been to visit her at her gravesite since she passed away. And it's about time that I do, right? That maybe when I do hit the road, maybe when when I do get my vehicle, I'm going up to Thunder Bay, people. If I didn't tell you, I'm going up to Thunder Bay. I'm going mining for amethyst. I'm planning an adventure. I'm making some explore videos for my YouTube channel. I'll be taking everybody along on that journey. I may start doing the videos maybe a couple of weeks before I go on my trip. I'm just starting to make the plans, but I might start posting content a couple of weeks before I go on the trip, only for the fact that I wanted to make it a series, right? I want to make it a series because it is one of my adventures, and I am going to be tying my mindset up with it. And again, I want to bring that Mother Nature. I want to bring that calmness, right? I want to show how beautiful of a country that I live in, right? And I have to drive through a great part of Manitoba and a great part of Ontario, right, to get where I need to be. But the drive is magnificent. The drive is magnificent. And I'm all ready to go for this trip now. The only fact that's stopping me is I don't have the time off and I don't have the money, but I'm buckling down and I'm not buying any Tim Hortons coffees while I'm setting this goal, because it's important for me to set goals, right? To show people that set a goal, set a small goal. If one of you guys want to go on this journey with me, right? And I'm not saying literally go on this journey with me, but go on your own journey. Set up a goal for yourself. Set out something that will take you a couple of months to achieve, and set it, whether it's a diet or a little project in the garage, or something that you've been meaning to do, right? Or something that you really wanted but just never had the time. If you set that goal and just work towards it, right? Just work towards it. And as I work towards my dreams, we call it reverse engineering. Set the dream, right? Set the goal, right? Let your imagination take you away, but work towards it. And as you work towards getting this goal accomplished, right? Because you're making that movement, whoever or whatever, the magic of it all will sweep you up and give you a hand to accomplish at the same time. I've set goals like this many times, and they've worked out absolutely beautiful for me. And if you don't believe me, go back and take a look at some of those old videos that I did, my trip to Minneapolis and my trip to Toronto. Go back and check out those videos. They were magnificent trips that shouldn't have happened because I did not have the resources emotionally, spiritually, or financially, right? But I did have a car. Which is more than what I have now, right? So I'm redoing this. I'm setting goals. I'm taking this trip to Thunder Bay, Ontario. I am going mining for amethyst. I've never mined for amethyst before, but it turns my crank and it's giving me an adventure. The provinces are opening up for travel now. I've gotten my second shot for my coronavirus. I am now fully vaccinated. I'm looking forward to giving up uh, on all those face masks and putting those away. Putting them away, though, not throwing them away. Maybe next summer, maybe this time next year or something, maybe we'll, or this winter even, maybe we could do some kind of celebration for the coronavirus going away. And maybe we could have a big bonfire and burn all our face masks, right? Maybe they make code and we could donate them to the hospitals or something for recycling. I don't know. Maybe we could do something. But I think coming out of this coronavirus, that it does call for a little bit of congratulatory reward, right? A little bit of a celebration, a little bit, maybe a worldwide, maybe they could set a date and we can just celebrate coming together, right? Here in Manitoba, I don't know what the percentage of people that have been vaccinated are, but the last time I looked, it was over 70% of the province was vaccinated, right? Over 70% of the COVID-19 vaccinations. Oh, here are the cases here. Um, just waiting for the dashboard to pop up. I got a lot of windows open up here, but let me see here. 74.7% of the population of Manitoba, 74% have been vaccinated, at the very least, their first vaccination. 50%, almost 50% of the population has had both their doses. 50% of the population has had both their doses. Now, somewhere along the line, I do recall them saying that they would fully open up the province if we could make it 75% fully vaccinated. That would mean only 1 in 4 people have not been vaccinated in some way. Now, at the maximum, it would be 25% that didn't get their second vaccination, right? Because almost 75% have had at the very least their first vaccination. But I'm going to assume everybody's going to have their vaccinations. Everybody's going to follow suit, right? A little bit of majority rules on this one, I think. A little bit of majority rules on this one. But yeah, good job. Good job. Good job, Manitoba. I don't know if I disappear when I do that or not, or if my screen shows or something, or if you guys are still watching me. Probably you're still watching me, watching the screen, right? Okay, let's come down in the comments here. Pick up on the comments. Yeah, Owen, and these are baby boomers. These are mature adults that have sacrificed their lives, right? Their big part of their lives, their individualities, right? To actually put that effort in to caring for somebody other themselves. That is the greatest thing. That's the greatest service that you could, right? To actually sacrifice your whole life. I don't know if I could have done. I would have done that for my father, 100%, no question. I would have been perfectly content to take care of my father right until the very last day of his breath. And you know what? I was with him. I was actually the last person to even talk to my father, right? Before he passed away. And unfortunately, I wish I had more of a conversation with him, right? And sometimes we don't even get that. Sometimes we don't even get an opportunity to say goodbye. And then sometimes when people pass away, we look back on those relationships and we beat ourselves up. Could we have done more? Could we have contributed more to their well-being in their later years? And this is not a question that anybody in my chatters has to worry about, because it's a given, right? That already you are providing service, right? That already being a caregiver, that you have provided service and you do provide service, and just the fact that you sacrifice so much. And I really hope that you guys find little things in your life for enjoying that, could bring a little bit of joy. I know, like, Andrew loves to read. I know Andrew loves to read. I know that was it Owen? Owen, you like to tinker on radios, Owen? Was that you or was that Robert? I get mixed up sometimes. I'm pretty certain that Owen likes to tinker with old radios and stuff, right? So you find the things that you love. And it's the same thing with me. I don't consider myself a caregiver, but I like to project a light that says everything's going to be okay, right? Like, it doesn't have to be all hairy, scary. It doesn't have to be all voicing me and heavy duty. That sometimes you can just come into the lives and just unload your terrible day or unload the stresses of the life that you lead, right? And this is what we do here on Sunday nights, right? And I'm very grateful that you guys all joining me. And even though you don't might not join me live in person, maybe you might not come, maybe you just like to stay in the background. That's all good too. It takes all kinds to make the world, and sometimes you'll hang out there in the background for a year, and then sooner or later you'll pump in and you go, oh, but I never miss a live. I'm always here with your lives, right? Lots of people, because of their work schedules and stuff, they don't catch me live, but they come in afterwards. They come in after the lives, and they let me know in the comments that they've been in and how much they enjoyed our company and enjoyed the comments, because they get to read all your comments and everything and the chatter and everything too, right? So this what we put together Sunday nights, we put this together, right? This is a contribution of all of us, right? It would, like I said, the comments and the chatter going on, that's all Andrew and Owen and, right? Angry Birds and Melvin, right? Our Moo Cow and Kathy. Kathy will be in later, right? She's off doing something. And remember, it's summertime too. People are trying to enjoy their lives, trying to take a little bit of time for themselves, a little piece of the life for themselves to find enjoyment. And it's important. And it's not necessary to be here live every single time, but it's nice to know that you do. I really enjoy it. Wouldn't be the same without your company, right? I really appreciate everybody's company in these lives. And at the same time, I appreciate that people come in after the lives, right? And they let me know that, oh, sorry we missed your lives, but I just wanted you to know that I was here and I really enjoyed it and I love the conversation. Sometimes they'll mention something that Owen said or something, right? Something that Andrew said or something to the comments. And I guess I should pass this stuff around because, we do email each other and everybody's welcome. You can DM me through Instagram. You can get a hold of me through my Facebook page. You could make yourself known in the comments, even if you just pop in, give me a thumbs up, and then move on with your feed. You're welcome to do that. But I slowly get to recognize your thumbnail and recognize that you're hanging out with me every week and stuff. But I also understand, like I said, it's not always possible. We have busy lives, we have responsibilities and things that we have to be accountable for, right? And being a caregiver too, emergencies arise and that takes away from our time. And sometimes our days have been just so poopy that really we just can't focus on too much, right? So sometimes we just need that time to just space out and stare at a wall for a little bit, right? And sometimes that's what it takes to bring us down from our crappy days. Yeah, the sun's going down right now. Can you see it in my face? Can you see the reflection of the sun coming down in my face? One of the churches, the Trinity Church, I can see they've been building it, right? And they put these really neat lights on the tower. So every night they change the color of the lights on the tower and it lights up the whole church. It's just so beautiful. And as the sun goes down, you're able to see it more and more. And it just adds to the beauty of my big picture window. I just love my big picture window. And even though, the sun does come in the evening and warm the apartment up and stuff. It's worth it. It's worth it just to be able to stand here and take a look, right? Take a look at this beautiful city that I live in. Yeah, I do live in a beautiful city, and I'm very grateful to be a Manitoban, right? Even though I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia. I feel just as much a Manitoban as anybody who was actually born here. And if you actually think about it, we're all immigrants anyway, right? Even my grandfather, um, he had a title. He was one of the Marriotts of Mendlesham, and he was from Essex, right? The Essex area. He's actually mentioned in an important book in England. I can't remember the name of the book, but again, we were what I was saying earlier. I had a relative who was actually lady in waiting to Queen Victoria, the first Queen Victoria, right? And we ran in those circles, my family, and even though we weren't royalty ourselves, we did live in the household, we did work in the households, and we were obviously respected and trusted, obviously, right? Because there are lots of stuff that not everybody's privy to understanding or knowing about these royal families, right? But part of our history. But I also know that my grandfather was disowned. Yes, my grandfather was disowned by his own parents in the 1890s. He wanted to immigrate to Canada. He wanted to be a part of that adventure, right? Moving to Canada, and he moved to Canada here, and he went right across Canada. He stopped off like everybody else in Nova Scotia, and he just traveled Canada straight to the west coast. He stopped off in Toronto, and he picked up his wife, my grandmother, uh, and she lived in the Toronto area. I know that much. I also know that she was had some indigenous in her. That she had the blackest eyes. She had the scary, very kind lady. I don't remember much of her because she passed away very early. And part of her kind of was a little spooky. Maybe it was her very pale skin, her black eyes, her black hair. Maybe it was the fact that, she had diabetes and she had no legs, that she was blind. My grandmother was blind. Her diabetes made her blind. But I didn't get to know my grandmother very well. But my sister remembered her. My sister took note of my grandmother, and she was a year younger than me, so she had a different relationship, a different interaction with my grandmother than what I did. And she said that my grandmother was a very, very kind lady, that she used to give us jars of pennies and stuff. We don't have pennies here anymore in Canada. We gave up the penny. We round everything off to the nearest nickel now. We don't do pennies anymore. And I suspect, do they still have pennies in the States, guys? And Andrew, do they still have pennies in the States? I'm going to assume that the penny now isn't 100% copper anymore in the States if they do have pennies, only for the fact that the penny is worth more than a penny. Did you know that the penny is actually worth, well, it was a few years ago worth 1.8 cents a penny was worth, right? So it cost more to make a penny than the penny was actually worth, right? Oh, I have lots of ambulance and fire trucks and those kind of vehicles. They go by my window all the time. I always try to take a moment just to say, I hope it's a non-emergency. I hope everything's okay. But they're going all day long, and they actually, because I live in a 55 apartment complex, that there's a lot of people here that get tended to too. And because I have a fire station right behind my apartment, I have a fire station. It's going all the time. I've gotten quite used to it. My cat has gotten quite used to it. It doesn't even bother my cat anymore. It bothers me a little bit, but again, that's the loud noises, the noise of the city and stuff. And if you've been hanging out with me for any length of time, you know I love the sounds of Mother Nature. I love the sounds of silence. And I love whirring. I love the sound of my fan. I love the sound of the air conditioner. Even a bathroom fan. I love a consistent whirring. Whir? Is that the word I'm looking? WIRR, a whir, right? The whirring noises. And that's part of my hypervigilance, I think, right? That makes it, because at nighttime, with the sound of the fan and the sound of the air conditioner, those loud noises, it kind of blocks out the odd household noise, right? Things the cat knocks over, somebody out in the hallway, music too loud, those sudden noises that might get my hypervigilant all worked up, my system all worked up. I like to keep my system calm. And I do a pretty good job of it, even through the hairy scary. And you guys know I've been through a lot of hairy scary. I think I keep it pretty calm for the circumstances, even if I am panicking on the inside. It, exteriorly, I think I hold it together. I hold it together pretty good. But yeah, I think these noises, the air conditioner and my fan, is to block out noises so that my hypervigilance, hearing things go knock in the night, it doesn't wake me and make me focus on it, right? So that I'm not thinking that the murderers and the rapers have broken into my apartment and stuff, because these fans, because for the most part, I would say, right? These things do happen. Unfortunately, they do happen. But when you expect them to happen, right? When you're constantly reminded, when your hypervigilant picks it up and you're actually paying focus on it, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And because my attention doesn't go to these things that I can compulse about, right? And I think that's a big contributor to my emotional well-being, that I am not hyper focused on these things, even though I have a hyper vigilant personality. But I control it with sounds from nature, and the whirring sounds of consistent mechanical noise, right? That kind of overrides any kind of bump in the night, right? 78 in Bloomingdale. Okay, let's see how much it's cooled down now here in Winnipeg. It's still 31 Celsius here in Winnipeg. I'm not quite sure what that is in Fahrenheit. Hey Google, what is 31 Celsius in Fahrenheit? It's 87.8 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. So it's still pretty hot. It's not, at least it's not 100 degrees now. And I do see the branches of the trees moving, so there is a little bit of a breeze. I might go for a bike ride tonight. I might go for a cup of coffee. Maybe I'll go and get a Slurpee. No, that's sugar. I'm not spending any money. I've been pretty good. I've been pretty good this week with my money. I've been picking up things that were necessities. I haven't been buying any coffee shop coffees at all. I haven't been buying any coffee shop coffees at all. So I'm behaving that way. I am being responsible. I'm setting plans. This trip that I'm taking in September, it's going to be amazing. And right now I was looking at satellite vision on Google Maps. I was looking for different campsites. I know after Labor Day, here in Canada, Labor Day is on the 3rd this year. I think it's on a Monday, which is 3rd of September. But right after Labor Day weekend, the government shuts down camping grounds and stuff. I'm perfectly happy to sleep in my car. I got my couch cushions. When I went to Toronto and set the back end of my car up like a camper, it worked out perfectly. I enjoyed camping that way. I have my pop-up tent too. But at the same time, yeah, I'm perfectly content to sleep in the car, and I'll make sure that I get a big enough vehicle that I can sleep in the car if need be. But I do know that the campsites are going to be closed. But that doesn't stop me from maybe checking out some neighboring farms or something. Maybe they'll let me camp in a farm field. Maybe they have little spots. Maybe I'll meet somebody during the course of making my videos as I'm working up to my trip, that somebody might offer some space in the yard for me to pitch up a tent. But again, I'm happy. Oh, I am more than happy to take my car up into the mountains and just pull off the side of the highway and sleep in my vehicle too. I'm very happy to do that. It's part of the adventure, right? And that's what Cindy loves. Cindy loves experiences. Cindy loves adventures. I've never been amethyst mining before. I have no idea how it even got in my head. But part of my wants in my life is to have an amethyst mine, to actually have an amethyst mine on the same site as I have a nature retreat, which is also going to be a mindset mindfulness, right? Maybe even spiritual down the road. But I haven't made decisions on those traits. I understand that the path I'm doing is in thought leadership. It is in thought leadership, but not necessarily do I have to bring part of my physical beliefs, like my own personal beliefs, into it, because I am non-denominational. My brand is non-denominational. All kinds. I'm a true believer. It takes all kinds to make the world, right? And I want all kinds of people to find my brand. I want all kinds of people to be able to come in and feel comfortable and feel like they have something to say. They could say it and be welcomed for it, right? And at the same time, maybe learn a little bit about my culture, about where I live, about connecting with Mother Nature, right? Mother Nature plays a big role in what I'm doing too. And again, like I said, with coronavirus easing up a little bit, those cases easing up, the provinces are opening up. You can now do traveling in between the provinces. And yeah, I'm making plans for a little trip. And as we move forward, and if you have suggestions for me, I would love to hear the suggestions. And if there's certain kinds of content that you would be interested in seeing me create, I would love to hear about that too. But I think most of it is going to be like me sitting in beautiful nature spots and spewing my mindset and spewing my mindfulness and giving out lessons and sharing my experience, right? Because you're going to see me get overexcited in the experience of it all, no question, right? I'm going to be so happy to be back on the road. It gives me something to look forward to, doesn't it? It's like, because again, right, sometimes if we don't believe in something, setting goals gives us things to live for also, right? Gives us things to live for also. So yeah, setting goals, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And within setting my big goal of going to Thunder Bay to do some mining of amethyst, there are lots of little goals within that. It's kind of figuring out, what do I want to do to all the crystals that I'm going to find when I come back, or am I going to sell them with my brand in order to promote my brand and maybe support my brand a little bit? Am I going to do these amazing outdoor explore videos and add them to my YouTube channel and get back into the urban exploration and the back road exploration, and opportunities open up for me that way? And right? And here we go. Here we go again, and just adding on to the adventures of my life and my story, right? And add on and bring on more people who are interested in finding themselves or finding the relationships that they have with Mother Nature just through the content that I put out there, right? Leaving myself open. We're going to see as we go along, aren't we? We're going to just leave myself open. We're going to play this story out. And I'm sure, again, because I trust that everything is always going to be okay, that I trust that I can set these plans out and I can work and move towards them, and things and opportunities will open up for me to choose from, right? So that I can add on to that adventure. with my goal, right, and my hopes being that other people will see what I succeed in setting those goals, and then it maybe set up them some goals for themselves, right? You know what I mean? Like, we got to keep moving. We have to find ways to bring change into our life, and sometimes all we can do is live vicariously through other people, because why, we're too busy in our own lives, right? That sometimes calming our systems mean that we have to spend time by ourselves, and sometimes these are the kind of things we like to do when we're hanging by ourselves, right? We just like to kind of hang out and have light conversation, and right, hold each other up, support each other in their ideas, listening to other people's ideas, right? I'm just checking on the comments here. Yeah, 106 patients. Wow, bridge of size. That's really a heavy load. And that's exactly what I'm talking about right now. Sometimes all we have is just to hang out with some nice people, some nice like comment, right? Some nice calm souls that can help calm our own souls, calm our systems down a little bit, make us feel like everything's going to be okay, make us feel like, okay, that was a tough day today, right? Don't want to go back to work tomorrow. But you know what? I feel a little bit better now that, you know what? I'll find it in me. I'll find it in me. And right, we're going to make tomorrow happen no matter what. And it just gives us a little bit more gumption just to keep going sometimes, right? We're talking about fire trucks, I see. Oh, amazing. I love I love the topics that we discuss. And it's interesting, right? To see how smart everybody is, right? The conversations that we have and the conversations we don't have. Because sometimes we just like to hang out in the background and just listen to old Cindy yap away, right? Okay, everybody. Well, I guess that's our live tonight. I yabbered away a little bit, right? It has been a long day. I did get a lot of sun. I put a little bit of an exertion into a walk. Didn't get much done. That heat kind of sucks it all out of you, does it? Right? But we managed and we had a good time, and I'm glad we did. And I'm grateful that you let me have my air conditioning. I hope it wasn't too distracting, the noise from my air conditioning, but it might have been a short night tonight on my lives if I didn't have that air conditioner. Because if I turn it off for even 5 minutes, oh my God, if I turn it off for even 5 minutes, my whole apartment will just heat up to that 31 degrees. And that's how it'll stay all night, or until I turn the air conditioner around on me when I'm sleeping at night. And then maybe I can fall asleep. But who's to say? Maybe I'll wake up early again tonight. That's okay too, right? Life is what it is. Life is what happens to us while we're making other plans, people. This is my dad's plaque, this dirty, grungy, old plaque that's from the 1970s. It's all peely and falling apart. Oh, I'll just take that right off, that little piece of wood. And even Scott's, I don't even know what this is. I've taped something on the back of it. I have no idea what it is. Just going to take a quick look at it. Aw, 4 things I know about my dad, as if I could ever forget, right? I take this to the back of this plaque. Do you want to quickly hear what this thing's? 4 things I know about my dad. Number 1, he loved talking the deep stuff on long drives, staring off into the horizon, playing a game of chess, and after being inspired or enlightened by someone or something. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of Bob Proctor. He used to listen to a lot of thought leadership and stuff. And when it was first starting to become popular, right, in the mid 70s, right? He was probably even before that, because as long as I ever known, my dad was into it, right? So It was probably long before I was even born. So it was probably more in the 50s, right? Or early 60s that he started this. My dad lived and taught his lessons through quotes, which again led into those deep talks. Yeah, my dad lived by quotes. My dad loved quotes. And again, he lived by some of those ones that weren't really healthy. Turn the other cheek, which caused me a lot of difficulties in my growing up. I had to turn my cheek on a lot of things. My dad expected me to turn the other cheek, and even though it wasn't always possible, because you take as much as you can before you finally snap, and right, and then I get in a fight in the schoolyard, and I end up wearing that stained frilly dress that my mother had sitting in the closet ready for me to wear for a week if I got into those fights. Yeah. My dad lived and taught his lessons through his quotes. He certainly did. Number three, my dad always sought the answers to understanding why and how things were the way they were. Always. He was always deep diving. He was always buying books. He was always listening to his classical records. He loves Stravinsky and Tchaikovsky and Beethoven. And yeah, I walk home from school and I could hear my dad's stereo. He always had the best stereo on the block, right? Great big 1970 speakers. You can imagine the woofers on those things, right? But he would be listening to this music, this classical music. But he liked other stuff too. He loved Santana and lots of other people, even Tom Jones, and oh, I can't even remember all the singers he used to like, right? Even in the road trip, singing travel songs in the back seat of the car, he loved doing that with us too, right? My dad loved music. My dad really loved music. My number four, my dad believed in the magic of healing yourself and manifesting through meditation. My dad meditated 20 minutes twice a day for as long as I know. I don't think he ever missed meditation in as long as I ever knew. My dad died when I was 23 years, but in those 23 years, he meditated twice a day for 20 minutes. Meditation does work, and it was very important to my father to meditate. And I think it attributed to him living 20 years longer than what he was meant to live, right? He lived, my dad lived 20 years longer than what he should. My dad had congenital heart disease, and my dad had hardening of the arteries. So he could have easily had a heart attack or a stroke at any time in his life. And he knew this even as a teenager, he had these problems, right? And he wanted to get married. He wanted to have babies, and he got to have that life, and he loved his family greatly, right? But yeah, he meditated. He meditated lots. Also through understanding, generosity, and openness to the strange ways that answers come to you. Yeah, he left a lot to chance, my dad. But again, my dad was a compulsive gambler. He believed in chance. He believed in chance 100%. These are the things I know for sure, besides the obvious immense love for our family that he had. Because my dad, he loved his family. Hugs, kisses, adventures, traveling. He didn't do this with other people. His brother in law was his best friend. They go off fishing for a couple of months at a time. And he spent quite a bit of time away from the family. But, when he was home, his main priority was his family, and he made sure that that time together was important, right? And he always said, and again, it's the quality of the time, not the quantity. And I believe in that wholeheartedly myself. Okay, everybody, that's it for tonight. I guess we'll see each other next Sunday. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight. And thank you for your conversations. Thank you for joining in the lives. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Because if YouTube gets those thumbs up, what will happen is they'll pass it on to other people who might be interested in hanging out with us on Sunday nights. I want everybody to feel comfortable, right? I want everybody to feel welcome. And I think the people that we have on this channel are about as amazing as they could be. And I think they do a great job. of doing exactly that. Okay, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you guys again, as usual, and we'll see you next Sunday. But you're welcome to come join me live on Instagram anytime. I would, I would drop down. I would faint, right? If you guys came in and hung out with me live on my Instagrams. I go live every single morning. You guys are more than welcome to come hang out with me. Thank you again, Angry Birds. Thank you very much for coming in. It's very kind of you that you pop in with us on Sunday nights and offer us your insights too, right? Okay, everybody. See you next Sunday.